that we have Mr. Tim Spooner that is available with us. Tim is from Spooner Woodworks down in San Diego area. Incredible company. I'm going to unmute him. Okay, Tim, if you can hear me now, I believe that you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm live now. Can you hear me?
Yes, and I'm sorry that it was my fault.
No worries.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it very much. I know that you're a super busy man, but I also know how much that you appreciate this community, and that it was helpful to you to get to, know and understand more about this technology before making the decision to purchase. So I really appreciate it. I'm sure the attendees do as well. So thank you. Thank you. Hey, if you would, Tim, tell us a little bit about your business in general to help us get an understanding of the landscape, what you guys do, what your sizes are, all of that kind of stuff, if you would, please.
Yeah, so we're a commercial millwork shop down in San Diego. Up until about probably 5 or 6 years ago, primarily a box shop. We still obviously had our custom shop and we were doing custom and countertops as well. But primarily still had a focus on commercial boxes. That's kind of evolved over the years. We've grown in size and our footprint's a lot bigger now. Have dedicated more space to custom, but also still have a pretty substantial production box shop that we're operating out of as well. Typically do about 10,000 boxes a year. Between 8 and 10,000 a year is right where we're at right now.
That's awesome. It's a great factory for sure, and it wouldn't surprise me if you haven't moved stuff around and done some enhancements since I've been there.
Yeah, the full implementation of Production Coach has definitely forced us to move some things around that's better suited for how the shop's flowing now. We were on a purely conveyor system before, floor conveyors, not utilizing many carts. We still use the conveyors for the most part, just because we do large. Most of our box jobs are large run jobs, so we're dealing with lots of parts, but it's gotten broken up a lot more. We've moved some machinery around. We've added some new machinery. So yeah, it's an ever evolving process for sure.
I like it. I like it. So if you don't mind, help everybody understand, like what went through your thought processes to give Production Coach a look and then decide to, make the purchase. And also, if you don't mind, help us get a little better understanding of what the implementation processes is like. The reason that I asked that part of it is I think that people are often scared about software implementations. If we're trying to implement an engineering solution, it could take us months or years, and turnover and training and setup or an ERP system. Would you explain, what went in your mind to make the decision to go forward and what the implementation process was like?
Yeah, for sure. I think our decision process was twofold. The first part is we've always been looking for something to standardize the way that our process went on the box side. We have a very process oriented company, and we're very strong on the box side. But in regards to how paperwork was moving through the shop, how to track jobs through the shop, that was kind of always where we fell behind a little bit in regards to getting information to our project managers. The biggest thing we wanted to try to find was a way, since we were doing so many different jobs each year, dealing with 5 or 6 different project managers just internally, was to find a way to better communicate and better show where our projects were at, how close they were to being complete, without our guys having to go down in the shop, find our foreman, walk over to the shop, walk on the conveyors, see if they can find their parts. How close are we getting to edge banding? How close are we going to get to assembly? When I get to assembly, how many boxes are done? Can I deliver this room today? Can I deliver that room today? So I think that was the first part, is just really trying to find a way to give better communication and better access to all our people when it comes to the production side. And obviously that does that with production coach. The second part of it has to do with once the cabinets were actually done and getting ready to be staged and taken out to the field. I think all of us that are in this industry like to think that we're a just-in-time manufacturer and that we like to build things and put them on the truck and get them out. But we don't dictate our schedules. We don't dictate the schedules of the job site. And, you know, this morning that they might be ready for cabinets, and by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, stuff's not ready anymore. So we were trying to find a better way to have some flexibility on how we're loading our trucks and how we are being more efficient with our deliveries. It's one thing to check off paperwork. We were still very old school in our paperwork in regards to our delivery department. All of our project managers made delivery lists and they put together packages, and our guys would go with a highlighter and we'd highlight off package by package by package to make sure we got everything. We all know how things go, and you know, a certain run of cabinets aren't done because, you know, we're missing edge banding or we're missing hardware for the day. So we do a partial delivery, truck comes back, we're trying to complete the delivery, you know, maybe 2 days later, and we can't find the original paperwork that was sent out. So we don't know if all the toe kicks were delivered. We don't know, you know, all the same stuff we all go through, right? So we've really spent some time in the last 6 months kind of honing in on our kit process at the end of the job in regards to the fabrication time, and putting together these delivery packages and kits that our guys can work off of, scan parts into the truck. We put these little monitors over each of our bays. So when our delivery guys are loading trucks, you know, they're getting a green light or a red light when they're scanning parts in. We've started making labels for all our boxes of miscellaneous hardware that needs to go out to the shop, to the point now where when stuff comes in, when hardware or say Z-clips or specialty hardware that's going straight out to the field, our shipping and handling guy is now basically making a production coach label as soon as it comes in. It's getting that label, nice. and then it's going over to other areas to just wait to be loaded in the truck. So I think visibility for our company, that's probably was our number one part that we were trying to hone in on and get better on, and accessibility for all our people, not just for the management, but also for our project managers, and then also giving our delivery guys a better tool to know and feel confident that they're making complete deliveries in the field.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Tim, for that. I did have a question coming from the audience that was asking what company Tim represents, and it's Woodworks down in San Diego, California. Tim, how about this? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but compared to maybe other integrations and stuff, how difficult was it to integrate production coach into your environment?
Yeah, so this is a loaded question, and it's going to be answered in 2 parts. The production coach implementation part was very simple in regards to putting the computers on the floor, getting it up and running. When Dudley came out and did our implementation, I mean, he was here for a week, and we were more than set up in a week. The back end of that and the first part, which is the loaded question part, is we had major infrastructure issues on our shop in regards to our IT and how our computers were communicating on our shop floor, which had nothing to do with the production coach, but it exposed a lot of stuff that we thought we were already set up for. Just a little history. We've been in this building now for like 6 years, and we really haven't used the shop floor from an IT standpoint in regards to communicating other than machine to machine and machine into our main engineering office. So we ran into some major issues with that. But once that was figured out, everything went in pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Just so that you guys know, I don't interview people in advance. I'm not asking them to give canned answers or anything else. You know, the intent of this is for you to get to hear from real life customers and you know what their real world experiences are. Not that everybody's experience will be the same. There's all kinds of environmental, situations that occur, personnel, and all those kind of things. But I suspect it's really helpful. So thank you for that, Tim. Final takeaway. So if you had any advice, somebody calls you up on the phone and says, "Hey, Tim, I know you guys put in a production coach. Should I? Blah blah blah." Do you have any words of wisdom for people who might be attending this webcast today and considering implementing production coach?
I think the biggest thing, looking back at it, I involved probably 2 individuals on my shop floor that are, one's my foreman and one's my production foreman, that were involved in pretty much every meeting from day one, from the decision making process to how the shop layout was going to work, and so forth. I think if I was to do it again, I probably would have made that group even bigger. Really identifying your key people on the floor that are going to be working with this every day, I think, is huge. Not to say we didn't have buy-in by our employees, but we have very low turnover in our company. We've had guys that have been working for us for over 30 years, and it's not a shock to the system in regards to changing what we're building, but it's definitely a new way of doing it. And I think it caught some guys off by surprise just of how we were going to do things. So I think from an implementation standpoint, I think those discussions could have happened earlier on our part, because fast forward now to where we're at now, I don't think anyone that deals with it on a day-to-day basis, and that would be my machine operators, our edge bander guys, our lead assemblers, those guys, I don't think they have any interest in going backwards. But getting your key people involved in the discussion early, I think, is huge, because those are ultimately the guys that you have to not only sell them on it, but also get them to buy into the whole process of really utilizing the system, because it really is. It's one of those things, and it's with every software, but it's really only as good as the information that's going into it and how much you use it. But that's the beauty of Production Coach too, is it is very simple. And when I put these barcode scanners in all the guys' hands, I think they realized it pretty quickly that it was going to make things more efficient, and they're helping people down the line, and it keeps project managers off the shop floor, which is our biggest goal, because it kind of slows everything down when they're down there looking for parts. So I think that's the biggest thing, would just be implementing key personnel very early in the process, and have them involved in not only the layout, but also in really understanding how this whole thing works.
Oh, wonderful. One last quick question. I know you got to go, Tim. Thank you so much for giving your time today.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem.
This is kind of just loaded, thrown out there. If you were going to make a guess, or an educated guess, or maybe you've got statistical data, what would you say the return on investment for Production Coach is?
In the world of software, I think Production Coach is very, very reasonable from an implementation cost. It's hard to say for us, because we're coming out of this COVID year. Our box shop really slowed down over the last probably 6 to 8 months. So we're really starting to pick back up now. But from a cost standpoint, it's not even really, for us, it wasn't even looking at the final price tag. It wasn't even really a determination on cost. It was more just, are we prepared to dive into a culture change on the shop floor? I think that was the biggest thing for us. But now that we're ramping back up, and we did have time over the last 9 to 12 months to really, we had not as much production on the shop floor, so it gave us a little bit of time, looking back at it, to really move some stuff around. We got a new case clamp. We moved around our assembly line. So that kind of gave us the opportunity to kind of fine tune it even more. But return on investment, I mean, it's very, very quick for us, and the amount of boxes we're doing.
That's awesome, Tim. Thank you so much. I know you had to break out of a meeting to do this today, and I'll let you go. But I just want to thank you so much for doing this and also being a great customer. And so I will move on to next, unless you've got anything final you'd like to say.
No, that's it. I appreciate it. Thank you, Sean.